Hey everyone, welcome back to Apollo Art Analysis. Today we're going to be looking at a pretty interesting project. We're going to take a bunch of different looks at it from different angles. It is kind of what you would call a transmedia film. So it is a film that's distributed across multiple different types of media, and it's kind of like a meta-narrative or a collage type of deal that focuses on industrialization, the impact of industrialization, all within kind of like a cosmic horror type of theme. So without further ado, let's jump right into it. So we're going to start off with just the piece here in front of us. And this piece, of course, we see in our initial introduction, we see what appears to be the symmetry reflected across that. And that looks like it could be kind of the surface of water, but that does give you a sense of balance. And there's kind of this pluming smoke that irradiates across the spatial composition and kind of like an oval-esque type of arc outward there. So this piece is pretty muted in color. The color palette is not vibrant. It is kind of that graphite gray dark aesthetic, but that's really what they're trying to go for. So that's important to note as well. So the location of the film was made after the director's hometown of, I believe it's called Decaying, and the location that they filmed this was actually Karabalta, Kyrgyzstan. So, pretty remote, pretty vast, and still has the impacts of industrialization that's present in, say, Decaying, for example. So, the fundraising around this project is pretty interesting. Like I said before, it's a transmedia film, which means that the media will be distributed across a multitude of different platforms. And they're actually utilizing the profound new technology of NFTs to do that. They're using that to kind of... It is a style of low-budget filmmaking, but they're using the distribution and the verification that NFTs and the blockchain provide in order to provide as much value to their supporters as possible. And just think about what decentralization has done. You can directly support the creator, and they can directly receive the funds in order to be able to contribute to their project and gain from their project as well as move on to the next one. So if you're a fan who knows an artist that's minting some NFTs, or you support a film or a project like this, go give them some love. I'm going to be putting the OpenSea description, the OpenSea link down below, so you can check that out. So I think that'll be really important. So the fundraising they're planning on doing a bunch of different things. One of them even being VR showcases or VR kind of galleries. So I think that's what I'm most excited for. But it's a really unique and very modern approach to fundraising for the film. So I think that's really important to note, and it really intrigued me whenever I first came into a knowledge of this project. So the theme of Ash Valley, which is the film, is industrialization, but more importantly, the impacts of industrialization. And they take this and they put it within kind of a cosmic horror fictional narrative. And the fictional narrative draws a lot of metaphors to the actual real life impacts of industrialization. So the film follows a meteor that strikes down into a town, and that impacts them in a bunch of different ways, from birth defects to hellish hallucinations and everything in between. It follows three main point of views. So you have three different characters. I believe it's all happening at once. Kind of, they're all within the same timeline, but you get three different perspectives. So that's really important. It gives you a sense of the greater scope of every single angle of the event, or the fictional cosmic horror event. So I think that's really important, and it gives you a lot of different perspectives for that story. So you feel like you're really an active participant. You're not just viewing one perspective or one point of view. You're able to view a much greater one, and that's incredibly important, especially to immerse the viewers and connect with it a lot more. Because you may not connect with one character, but you see another character, and that seems a lot more real, or even the third character seems a lot more real than that. So I think that's really cool to provide the viewer different perspectives and those different point of views. So whenever I take a look at this, or whenever I contemplate on the meteor, kind of the meteor crashing down into the town, I think that's a really, at least the way that I view it, is as a metaphor for the impact of industrialization. So, in talks with the director, he said that the impact of industrialization is really, really important, because whenever a town gets industrialized, you're kind of, it's obviously it's not good for everyone, so it also could be a connection to the meteor as well. But there's a lot of younger people who leave for the big cities, and kind of to see a lot of the youth and the potential with the youth has just move into the cities and leave a lot of the old people behind. It's really devastating. And if you combine that even with kind of leaving the old people behind in an industrial town, it's even worse. And you can see those impacts, anywhere, and just kind of look it up. It's incredible what's really happened. But we call those empty nests, and empty nests are when the youth leave and they go into the big inner cities to find greater opportunities, whether it's education or just, being closer to a cultural hub. That's really kind of why the youth move away. And whenever they move, they leave the older people behind. And who's going to take care of them, right? When the youth have left, it's an empty nest. They grew up in the nest, but now they have left it behind. It is now empty, and it's quite tragic at that. And so you see the impacts of industrialization on that mainly. And so that's really the main focus of the story. Like I said, we had that meteor that crashes down, a bunch of really hellish cosmic horror effects. And then we also have that mix with the impact of industrialization on kind of a smaller town. So those are all really central axioms or central themes of the piece at hand. So in stylistic influence, I got myself some notes here. And so the team aims for the visual style to be a blend of documentary realism, influenced by the low budget imperfections of the Dogma 95 visual language of filmmaking. So that right there, you see, I'm not entirely sure if it is literal low budget, but they are definitely influenced by the low budget imperfections. So they're deliberate with that, and that really gives you kind of, for me, it gives a sense of realism. Whenever we're looking at something that, whether it's amateur or it kind of looks amateur on purpose, say with the low budget imperfections that are on purpose, then that really gives it this really raw and really real feeling. And I think that that'll be really important to bring the viewer even deeper within what they're watching. It's meant to be unsettling, it's cosmic horror, but it's industrialized cosmic horror, so it's even grittier, it's even grimier on that. So it's a really interesting piece. How to look forward to watching it. I'm gonna say kind of it's about a 4-person team, and see like Vanessa Kong, for example. I believe that's her translator. I'm not 100% sure, but we have Shu Zhu, who is the director slash writer. We have Anderson Lee. He's the executive producer. We have G. Wilson, who is a writer, and then we have Vanessa Kong, who is a story editor. So I'm sure there's a lot of people that were involved, but these definitely are the main 4 there. And it's a really interesting piece. I think kind of exploring the impacts of industrialization will be incredibly, incredibly important. And also to just bring that into awareness through the visual language, but of course, the visual language and the narrative of storytelling as a whole. So here's some really, really, really good opportunities to tell the stories of the people, say, the youth who moved to the city, but also the impacts of that and the older people who are left behind within the empty nest. And it is tragic, it is heartbreaking, but the first step is to bring an awareness of the situation to as many people as possible. And so I think the film will do a really good job at that, to really raise that awareness and even show people the existence of these empty nests. Because, see, me, for example, I knew that there are a lot of, even in America, say decaying is in China, but I've heard of a lot of cases where younger people move to the cities. I think that's a worldwide phenomenon, but from the perspective of Shu Zhu, he is coming straight out of China, so he is kind of sharing his perspective on that, the impacts, and I think we can learn a lot of that no matter whether you live in China or not. There are the impacts of empty nest everywhere. There are a lot of rural towns in the US that have been kind of abandoned because people move to suburbs, people move to urban centers for greater opportunities. So I think this film will do a really good job in education and kind of bringing some enlightenment, and just to enlighten people to the existence of the problem in the first place. And that's really what we do, right? We articulate the problem first, even through the artistic form, through kind of a visual form of articulation and literacy. And that really leaves a lasting impact with people. So Really excited for this project. Like I said, I'm going to have some of the OpenSea links down below. Check that out. They're using NFTs to finance it alongside some other methods. So those are all be really important to give back to the original creators and to really support the kind of indie amateur, underground scene. And I think that's really, really important and very empowering for the artists and the team at hand. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Check it out. Check out the link below. Watch out for the release of the film. It's incredibly exciting. A lot of really, even though it's an unsettling lesson, I think it's an important one to learn. So hope you guys enjoyed. I'm going to link Shu Zhu's info as well. And my name is Apollo. This was Apollo Art Analysis, and I'll see you guys on the next episode. We hope you enjoyed today's episode. If you'd like to support our work directly, please check out our Apollo community tokens. Apollo Art Exchange is an ecosystem of art appreciation which elevates artists each and every day. Thanks for listening.